Nice to be here. Welcome to the Angelic View. I'm your host, Maria Maas, and this is the show where we help you connect with angels so that you can live your best life. And I'm coming to you today live from beautiful Bonita Springs, Florida, where we've had some very unusual, unseasonably hot weather this past week, but now it seems like we're moving more into the normal temperatures. We've had temps in the 90s, and it's been like, feels like midsummer already. But how's it in your end there, my wonderful co-host, Ginger?
It's been a very wild week. We were really warm last weekend, and then we actually had dipped back to chilly temperatures, highs in the low 60s. And then the last 2 days have been back up into the 80s. So, do you turn the AC on? We haven't yet. So far, we're just using the fans and keeping the breeze going. But we live in a house that was built in the early 1900s. So the whole house, it's like being in a cave.
Wow,
Whatever temperature you have the house is what temperature it stays at. It does really well with both heat and
that's good
cool.
though.
Yeah, so you walk outside and it's warmer outside than it is in just because of the way the houses are constructed. So, but now I've got this is my background for today because
Mhm.
what we have here is unbelievable pollen. The pollen is collectible. We attended an outdoor wedding yesterday, and my
Oh,
grandson took a cup and he was rubbing it with the mouth side down, and then he took a drink and he had like this line of pollen across his forehead. It's thick. So you looked around and everybody's shoes were covered in pollen. It was it's very, very thick. As soon as you go out, you can actually feel it, you know.
yeah.
That's what this
Well,
background looked like to me was pollen.
yes. Well, I remember that all very well because I lived in the Northeast most of my life, and we will be heading back there very soon. So I remember, our back deck being covered in all the pollen. It's just like it. You'd clean it off, and a little while later you go out there and it's all back again. And then it's when you have allergies and stuff, that could be difficult. But we are looking forward to going back up to New York and getting out of the real terrible heat that they'll have down here in Southwest Florida because I don't fare well in very hot weather. I don't like the extremes one way or the other. I don't like the cold, freezing cold, frigid, icy winters, and I don't like the really hot, steamy summers. I'm a fair weather girl. But
Well,
anyway,
I've lived most of my life in that, here in Virginia, you go out in the summertime and you can just imagine not wanting to move. It's just so muggy. The
mhm,
humidity is so high.
mhm,
And I've spent some time in the parts of Texas that are very arid.
mhm.
And I prefer the humidity over the dry, but it's really interesting to we did talked a little bit about past lives in the last show, and that's what's really funny is I can tune into a climate and I remember what that climate felt like. So just kind of an interesting side note when it comes to the weather. I don't have to be in that weather to have very clear memories of what that weather but feels like. So, Michelle says that she's in northern Nevada and where Mother Nature has hot and cold flashes every hour. Yeah, in Virginia, we say the same thing.
That's
We
a
say
good
if you don't
one.
like the weather, wait 15 minutes, you
They
know.
say the same thing here in Southwest Florida because the sun could be shining and then all of a sudden a dark cloud roll in and it could be feel like look like a storm, a thunderstorm for like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And the next thing you know, the sun is back out and everything's dried up and you never even knew it rained. But
Yeah.
anyway, speaking of Michelle, hey Michelle, happy birthday. Wishing you a wonderful year and many, many angel blessings. And with that being said, I also want to send out my condolences to Dax Carlisle. He is our executive producer of the Psychic Cafe. and he lost his mom just a little over a week ago now. And I know they were very close, and I know she's with the angels, and she's looking down on you, Dax, and she's very proud of you, and you were a great son to her. I know that personally, that you did everything for her. So I just want to express my condolences, and wish angel blessings to you and your dad to help you through this difficult time.
In addition to working with angels as an angelic practitioner, I had the opportunity to go through a 4-year seminary program. And it was really interesting for me. I'm an ordained minister through Peace Community Church International, and it's a church that I really have an affinity for. I've been involved in traditional religion for quite some time, and my family was always like, well, when are you going to quit your day job and become a minister? And I said, when I find a church that believes what I believe, because I don't believe in exclusivity when it comes to relationships with God. I believe that each of us is entitled to our own unique relationship with God. And while we can share that and grow together, that doesn't mean that anybody has the secret decoder ring that is exactly what it is. And during that time, I had a lot of opportunity to work with memorial services and celebrations of life, depending on how people approach this. It is a loss. It's a loss for those of us that are left behind, but it's also a celebration for all that someone was. And I remember my mother-in-law was Catholic, and I was talking to the priest. I was like, well, if you believe that her soul's in heaven, why do we do all of this funeral for, her body? She's not in her body anymore. And he said something that really kind of made it all work for me. He said, because this is how we knew that soul in this lifetime. In this lifetime, that soul was in this body. They had that color eyes, that color hair. They felt the way that they felt. And there is such a grieving over losing that physical connection, even though I believe, and I know from actual experience that, it's just on the other side of the door. We call it the veil. For those of us that have done mediumship work, we know that soul continues to exist past the point where they have the name and the face that we knew them in this lifetime. And it is really, really interesting to me to work with people who have that mediumship ability and to kind of figure out the way we tune into different vibrations. And Michelle is saying that she'd love to start our own spiritual community. And, I honestly, Maria, that's a lot what we're doing with that Angelic Connections Community,
Yeah.
Michelle. And I'd be happy to move into, I like deep discussions. I understand that there's a time and a place for them. Sometimes for me, in the past, it has been, 11:30 and a Saturday night at a bar, at the end of the bar, trying to find someplace you can talk over the band. Sometimes it's been in the ladies' room. So I had an opportunity to spend, I guess, like 3 years. I was married to a touring rock and roller. And so I had that opportunity. People were like, how can you do this? Oh, you're the good Christian church lady. And I was like, you know what? God puts you where he needs you to be.
That's true.
And sometimes those conversations are held in unlikely places. I remember meeting someone on a bus. I was doing I had a couple of commitments, and I was trying to figure out how to get from one place to the other, and a flight wouldn't take me there. So I took this overnight bus ride. And I had not been on a Greyhound bus in I mean, since college, it had been a
Mhm.
very long time. And it was the most fascinating experience. I just I did a prayer and some blessings for myself before I got on the bus. And then I was like, I don't know why I'm here, but like as I was looking through my travel patterns, it was like, this is where I'm supposed to be for some reason. And I
Mhm.
met someone who had all of their luggage stolen.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and you kind of being in that, what does this mean? Like, what is this in the context of things? And I realized that I was very happy. I was happy to be surrounded by my fellow travelers. I looked at it as a sense of an adventure. It definitely was not my most comfortable trip.
I
You
bet.
know, and it really gave me just an overwhelming sense of gratitude for just people and life and being able to spend that time and share that experience. And I decided that in the future I will make sure that I can take a plane. But it was a great adventure. And I've known people who've taken like cross trip Amtrak, cross country Amtrak trips. And that
Uh-huh.
would be something I might do sometime. I find that when
I've
I'm
thought
not
about that.
Yeah, I find when I'm not in my own environment, and you, Maria,
Mhm.
is somebody who's moving back and forth, I
Yes.
think there's a lot of similarities. And one of the things that my fiance and I have talked about is we believe that one of the reasons why we are so compatible is because we were raised with parents that had job changes of location very frequently.
Uh-huh.
So we didn't grow up in the same house. We didn't go to school with the same kids. We didn't know where we were going to go to high school.
Mhm.
When we were in middle school, there was no thought of where you were going to be in high school. I actually attended two high schools.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being able to kind of be true to yourself and have that solid base. And for me, a lot of that had to do with my connection to God and spirit, and knowing that wherever I was, that didn't change, because everything around you changes. And when I think about, for myself, when the time comes for me to transition out of this lifetime, um, I just sort of feel like I'll do okay. I have
Mhm.
been dropped in the middle of lots of places without a lot of context or background. And it's and I think that it can be like that, just knowing that you are who you are, whether it's on a Greyhound bus or
Mhm.
better circumstances. It is staying in that connection, that full-time connection. I remember sometime in middle school, I think, we were doing an in-depth, probably through Lent or something, about having your life be a living prayer and to pray
Mhm.
without ceasing and not saying amen. And I think even at that young of an age, I was like, that is how I want to be. I didn't want to
Mhm.
be doing things in my life or um, not be connected all the time. And so that has been something that has been just an important part for me, is knowing that that connection that I have now, I've had in past lifetimes and I'll have in future lifetimes. But it doesn't change the fact that losing someone is so it can be really devastating. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it kind of there's kind of a couple of different ways of processing it. Some people get really busy in the tactical work and then it hits them
Yeah.
later. And some people are just,
It's true.
not able to deal with the tactical sides of things because they're so overwhelmed. And I I tend to be somewhere in the middle. I have a level of I think I have a level of spiritual maturity that understands that there's a bigger picture. I also never believe that it's all about me.
Mhm.
So I think that helps me even in those times when I have such strong feelings and emotional reactions to things, to try to take my emotions and put them in the greater context. So, and speaking of which, I think I had mentioned that I was just at a wedding.
Yes.
2 weddings this weekend.
Two.
But the one yesterday was for, I've always referred to him for probably the last 15 years as the son I did not give birth to. He's my son's best friend, and he grew up in my house. You know, his parents live pretty close, and he has younger siblings. And so it's him, and then a long ways later, there's 3 younger boys. And so he would always escape to our house because he didn't get stuck watching or picking up after his siblings. And we were off doing the things that he wanted to do at that age. And, you know, we saw each other last night at his wedding, and he just started telling me how much he loved me. And he started getting all emotional. So then I started getting emotional, because I do find that's where I know I've got that empath. You know, when somebody's emotions are getting really strong, I absolutely start picking up on them. So then I was like, stop it. You're going to make my mascara run.
Well, you know, talking about all of this, it brings back a lot of memories and different things to me. And one thing I know for sure is I don't know exactly, none of us really know exactly what's on the other side, but I know that there is a place, and we do transition, that the soul does transition, and yet can still contact and be in communication with the loved ones that are here on this side of the veil. There's definitely no doubt in my mind, because I've had too many experiences, personal experiences, where I know without a doubt that had to be something from somebody from the other side reaching out to me. Things that happen, things that that words that just come to you, that you just know, you just feel the presence around you, um, different kinds of things. And one thing I can recall, one of the worst losses that I ever had in my life was when I lost my younger brother. And it was totally shocking. And, it was not something I ever expected to experience in my lifetime. And it was really, really a bad time for me. I had a really, like you said, some people, they dive into their work and they keep going, and that helps them process and go through these things. I had to just stop everything for a while and slowly get back into things, because I did not feel like myself. I literally felt like I lost a piece of myself, and I did actually, because I lost the person closest to me DNA wise that was left on this earth, and that was my brother. And the night of his funeral, I remember, well, actually, it was the wake. It wasn't the funeral. It was the night of the wake. It was before the funeral. And I was staying with my aunt and uncle in their house at the time, because they lived near where he lived. And I was with my husband, and we were in the guest room. And I remember just being so distraught and crying and trying. I had the light off in the room. My husband had just turned out the light. He was trying to go to sleep, and I was trying to find something now, and I couldn't see what I was doing. I'm crying between the tears and the room being dark, and because it was just like a little light coming. We had the door ajar, so some light would come in from the other room. I could barely see what I was trying to find something in my bags, and then I'm crying, I can't find this now. And I was getting so upset, and I was talking out loud, talking to my brother, and telling him, I can't take this, and go, I need help here. And all of a sudden, there was an overhead light in the room, and it came on, and then it dimmed out, and my husband says, I think somebody is trying to talk to you. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, Lou, is that you? Is that you? And then came on again and turned off. And then I said, my husband's looking at me. He's like, did that just happen? I'm like, did you see it? Because I know I saw it. I'm wondering, did you see? He says, yeah, I saw it. So I went and I sat next to my husband on the bed and I'm like, whoa, please, if that's you, do it again. I need confirmation. And again, came on and went off. And my husband's looking at me and I'm looking at him. And I was like, this is really, I was like, okay, one more time, please. If it's you doing it, do it again. And again, it came on and went off. And my husband said, okay, I got to look around here and see what's going on. Is there something, So we turned on the light in the room and we're looking behind the bed to see if, okay, were we like, bumping into like something that was plugged in and then like making it, we're trying to find every reason how this could happen otherwise. And there was nothing. And the next day, we told my uncle what happened, and he came downstairs and he started checking out the light switch and everything. And look, we opened that up and looking to see if there was anything wrong, and it was nothing. And it didn't do it again after that. It was just then, and that was it. So how do you explain that?
Yeah.
That was his soul was trying to, reach out to me and let me know, listen, even though I'm not physically there, my energy is still there and still with you. And I know what's going on with you. And I know you're upset and I'm trying to reach out to you and let you know. And I know that spirits do use electricity.
Energy is energy.
It's energy. And it just was that had to take a lot of energy because he did it like 4 times. And my husband, I was like, thank God that you're here and you saw this, because even experiencing that, I would be, questioning myself later on. Did I really see that? I was just so upset. Maybe I imagined it. You try to talk yourself out of it. But my point here is, folks, if you have lost a loved one and somebody that very close with, and something out of the ordinary that cannot be explained happens when you're thinking and talking about them, and having strong emotions. If that something happens out of the ordinary, just take it as a sign that it's them reaching out to you. There's no doubt in my mind. I know it was him, and there's been many other things that have happened, over the years since then, and here and there, I still get messages and signs from him. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think that we all have our little thing that that resonates with us. And if you don't, I encourage you to find something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
For some people, it's a feather. Seeing a feather makes
Mm-hmm.
them know that angels are close by. For other people, it can be ladybugs or butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
My mom feels that a red cardinal is her mother close by.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice that she moved to Virginia because we have a lot more of those here.
Mm-hmm.
So Michelle says that for her daughter, it's a yellow butterfly. And, to me, like, I love that. I
Yeah.
just love that.
Yeah.
I call them God winks. It's
Mm-hmm.
when God winks at you and you know that there's that connection there. And, I I wouldn't want to know, Maria, if the light was faulty. I wouldn't have looked.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Because whether it was or not, I would have just said, "Oh, that's my brother."
I am. I am a skeptic at heart. I am a very logical person, and I have to. Things have to be proven to me. I don't take these things lightly, and anything that I talk about, anything that I teach that has to do with angels or departed loved ones and things like that, or working with tarot cards and so forth, I have to believe in it wholeheartedly myself. And I am, very analytical, logical minded kind of person. And I need proof. That's how I am. But the thing is, once I have that proof, it's like my faith is strong. I mean, just like, working with when I started working with tarot, well, tarot was introduced to me as a young child, but when I started working with it later in life, and being the bit of skeptic I am, I did readings for myself first before I started doing them actually for people, because I had to feel confident that this really does work, and it really does. And I think Carl Jung was, he coined the term synchronicity, and how the tarot works. It works with the energy that's around you at the present moment. And yes, you can read into the past and into the future somewhat, but the main energy when you're working with oracle cards or tarot cards is the present energy, is the now. It's like a snapshot of the energy, the way it is for you now. And as that snapshot and that energy deflects and spreads out, it grabs some from the past and some from the future as well. And you can see these things within the cards. And when you shuffle these cards and you really concentrate and you're putting your energy in there, the cards are going to naturally just line up in the right order that they need to line up synchronistically, so that you get the reading that is for you. So that's just another whole topic, So all of these things, any type of work that I've done like this, I've always had to have some type of proof, because I am, really, I'm truly am a skeptic at heart.
Yeah, I guess I look at it slightly different. It's not that
Mm-hmm.
I don't have evidentiary proof, if you will, but
Mm-hmm.
some of to me, you only get that proof if you follow through on the suggestions or directions, you
Mm-hmm.
know, um, and that's been there have been certain times when I've just had like really strong feelings that something was going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have to.
I'll be like, oh, okay, yes, that's what I want. Start aligning around, this is where I want to be. And then somewhere, 12 to 24 months before this thing is supposed to happen, everything blows up. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. And I'm like, I'm okay that it's not going to happen. But I really thought, and sometimes I'm like talking to God and I'm like, I really thought that's what you wanted me to do and where you wanted me to be. And then it all comes together. And, one of the things that has
Our
been,
ways are not God's ways. God has his
well,
own
yeah.
ways. So,
Well, I was part of a church that was trying to build a church. We met in the movie theater, which is an awesome place to have church because you got all these pre-built rooms of various sizes. So when you're not that big, you can be in the smaller theater. It was a great environment. And I kept thinking,
mhm.
why in the world would we build a building? This is not used Sunday mornings. We would come in early Sunday morning and clean the bathrooms, and it was a love service for the community at large, taking care of this theater. And then of course we would have our service in the theater, and then clean up afterwards as well. And what would happen is that the money would start growing, and the membership would start growing, and the pastor would be like, oh, yes, we're going to build a building. And then the money would start going down and the membership would start going down. And I watched this over and over about a 4-year period. It happened multiple cycles. And I was like, yeah, it's whenever you think you're doing it, whenever the pastor would start to get some ego, like, look how great all this is. Suddenly it's like, nope, it's not about you.
Oh,
Maybe like, what am I supposed to do? And then you're like, Lord, just help me. And it would start going up again.
awesome.
So I think that watching that ebb and flow, and I very much have that observer point of view, uh,
Mhm.
which is, I think that I try to learn from as many other people's mistakes and trials as possible, so I don't have to go through them myself.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just take that wisdom with me. Let's turn to the chat. I think we've got some people looking
Yeah.
for some readings. And
Yes. Before we do that, though, let's just mention the couple of things that the couple of things we wanted to talk about and let people know, and the different promos and coupon codes, and then we'll go to the chat, and we'll continue with the mini readings and so forth. Let's do that so we don't forget.
okay. Well,
Okay.
one of the things that we were talking about is, yes, we are going on a hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
And I had sent a message to Dax and Michelle, I know you're on. both Maria and I would be interested, based on our schedule and availability, in popping on some of the other shows here on the Psychic Cafe. And, as we move into summer times, I know that people are looking to travel. So if there's anything that we can do to bring relief on some of the other schedules, that would be great. And in the meantime, you will be able to find both Maria and myself on the Angelic Connections Community. And we will be doing some more, I think we'll do at least one, maybe two live events while we are on hiatus. And we're going to work with Dax to try to do some recorded shows as well. So we'll just have to see how that turns out. But
Yes.
we are also going to be working on our format for this show, and we will be opening it up to participation to members of the Angelic Connections community that are interested. We will get you the Zoom link and have you come in as part of the show live. So that is one of the things that we'll be launching when we come back from our summertime. So the Angelic Connections Community, yes, the Angelic Connections Community. You can find things online at Maria's homepage, which is mariagmaas.com. And we've shown that screen, and we have the links for you. In addition to that, I will be, this month alone, I'm teaching 3 courses. So you can find the information for me will be on my Facebook page. I usually share them right to my Facebook page, as well as, I'll send links into the CAP class, and as well as posting them on the Angelic Connections. So definitely, while we are not going to be on the first and third Sundays, we are still very involved in building our group and the community. And, I would love to have a little spiritual corner. Maybe that's something that we can look to heat up with Dax's help, of course, in this maybe in the Psychic Cafe, as well as continuing to work with the angels in the Angelic Connections Community, ACC. I just remember it that way. So I'm trying to think, Maria.
Yes, I'm just typing in coupon codes into the chat as you're speaking.
Maria's giving you some information on and links on where to find everything. Again, we want to promote Maria's book and her angel deck. One of the things I will be doing is I am going to be doing a live walkthrough of my store in Emporia. By live, I mean I'm going to be walking through it and taking a recording of that, which I will then post. And one of the things that I have said a few times, and it's definitely something that we are very open to in our store, a lot of the business that we do in my store is virtual, where people will call in and ask for something specific, or we say, they'll say, I'm looking for a tourmaline necklace, and this is who I want to give it to, and we'll send them, these are the 5 or 6 styles we have, and we can ship. So there's plenty of opportunity to support the Faith Crystal store. The Faith Crystals website is, at this moment, we're still using the Facebook page. So going in and doing a Facebook page and messaging the store through Messenger on Facebook will give anybody, regardless of where you are, an opportunity to visit virtually the shop. And we do have Maria's books and her cards in our shop. And Maria and I are going to also work with a couple of other crystal store metaphysical shop owners and work with them to put together kind of a virtual tour, and maybe have them as one of the pre-recorded shows, do a interview and walk through those shops as well. It is very difficult to maintain a metaphysical shop. The locals oftentimes don't want people to know that they use your shop. So that's an interesting thing. Have people stop me and, it's practically, I'll meet you at the back door. I do have a nutritionist that comes in. So there's a lot of people who say they're coming in from the nutritionist. And
Oh,
it is interesting, but I do really well in the summertime, highly rated on Google, and a lot of people traveling that I-95 corridor. I'm only, it's less than 5 minutes. I'm like a mile and a half off of the exit. So it makes for an easy on-off stop if anyone is going to be traveling the 95 corridor. And if you let me know when you're coming, I would be happy to open the shop just to meet you there. So that's what happens when you have a small shop and you're a shop owner.
I would love to be able to do that, but we travel with our two cats and we just like have to really make time and get from point A to point B. It's so if I didn't have to travel with the cats, I would definitely stop by on our trek from Florida to New York and vice versa and back. Um,
Well, maybe sometime soon. My shop
Someday.
is in Emporia, Virginia. If you are traveling northbound on 95 and you get to mile
Okay.
marker 10, if you look through the woods, that's where I live. So I live
I
right at
remember
mile
you
marker
told me
10.
that one day, and we passed by and I waved, "Hey, Ginger." Anyway, I just want to mention quick everything that we've talked about. The Angel Practitioner Academy, the Angelic Connections Community, any links that you can find them all at my website, like Ginger said, and I also put that in the chat room, mariagmaas.com. So it's my name, Maria, MariaGMAAS.com. And the coupon codes I threw in there, one where we're still giving out for our viewers of the Angelic View show, the invitation to join our community free. This is not going to last forever. We eventually will stop doing this for free, but for right now, you can still get in for free to the Angelic Connections Community. Just go to my website, click on Angelic Connections Community, put in the coupon code Angelic View, no spaces, and you will be able to join for free. And like Ginger said, we have live events, and we have actually right now we're doing a 30-day challenge in our portal, so we have activity in there, and we also have a resources area in the Angelic Connections Community portal where you can download free gifts. And one of the gifts that is still available in there for a limited time is a deck that I created called the Angelic Affirmations card deck. And you can download that and print it on your own cardstock, and you'll have a free deck. So you can grab that. And we'll have other things that'll be free resources in there from time to time. The other thing is I created a new course. It's a mini course this time because I know not everyone wants to take a comprehensive course like the Certified Angel Practitioner course. Some people just want something small, especially if you're a beginner. So I created a new mini course, and it's available at the Angel Practitioner Academy, and it's called 5 Easy Steps to connect with your angels. And I have a coupon right now code that you can use if you want to purchase it and save 10%. This is just a limited time now. It's not going to be on there for long, but right now it is active. And if you put in save, the word save, SAVE, and the number 10, 10, save 10, you will save 10% on the mini course. So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, I think we can get going to see what questions we have in the chat.
All right. I put
Let's
in
see.
the link for my shop so that everybody can, there you go. You can feel free to message the shop on Facebook. So let's see. I know I saw we got lots of birthday cake and cupcakes. That's
Anybody put
awesome.
their hand, the little hand symbol so that we know that they had a question? I see one here. Oh, that's just somebody saying hi, waving hi. Okay. Let's see. We're looking for questions now. If anybody entered them in the chat, we are scrolling through and looking to see if we can find your questions. We
I
usually
did.
put,
I know I saw somebody that was looking for a general
I see
reading.
one. I see one from What a Lovely Day.
Yep. Yep.
Says, hello, may I have a message from my angel? So she's just looking for a general one. So let's just, I'll do that. And why don't I do, while I do that, you just keep looking and make sure I didn't skip anybody. Okay. Okay. What a lovely day. I am asking my angels and spirit guides to connect with your angels and spirit guides. And I'm using my deck, the Angelic View Oracle cards. And I'm asking for them to help me to see, hear, feel, or know whatever you most need to know right now that's in your highest good. Let's see what we get for What a Lovely Day. Oh, what a lovely day. You got a big hello from heaven. I love this card. The image on this card is actually a photograph that I took out in Montauk, New York. That's in Long Island, New York, Montauk. And the beautiful colors and everything, it's just so spiritual to me. So the card says, hello from heaven. Your loved ones in heaven are at peace. They visit you in your dreams and send you signs in nature. And this can also include pets. So keep that in mind. I'm just going to see if I get any more vibes for What a Lovely Day. I keep seeing like it might have something to do with somebody that passed either in the spring or in the late, or there might be more than one person in the late summer. I'm seeing images of what they, and it's funny, this is Montauk. I'm seeing images of what they call the Montauk daisy. Montauk daisies are big bushes of daisies, with the yellow center and the white leaves. And this flower may be of significance to somebody that is on the other side that's giving you a big hello from heaven, or it may have to be a symbolic of the time of year that was for an important date, either in your life or their lives. So it's somewhere between spring. It could be around the early spring or the late summer. And late summer is when the Montauk daisies bloom. So I'm going to kind of lean more towards the late summer. Um, springtime brings thoughts to mind of flowers right away, but I'm seeing those Montauk daisies, and I'm going to go with the late summer, early fall. Okay, I hope that makes some sense to you. What a lovely day, Ginger. Are you getting anything? Or you want to do the next one?
I was gonna just go ahead and look at the next one.
Okay.
So Nilda says hello, and can she have a mini reading? Thanks. Um, we've got a couple here. I'll do that one if you want to take it. The next one is Spirit Song wants to know, will I be moving houses before next year?
Okay, I will
So I'll go
see what I
ahead
get
and
first.
tune into Nilda Gonzalez. Okay. Nilda, what I'm picking up for you as your mini reading is a very strong message to see yourself wholly and not to see yourself in relationship to others. Don't look to compare yourself or whether you're ahead or behind, um doing better or not doing as well as that. Spirit's just really saying you're great right where you are, and celebrate that and look for things within you as opposed to being more focused on others around you to calibrate where you are. So that's the message that I got from Spirit for you for today. Maria, do you have something for Spirit Song?
Yes, I do. I pulled some cards for Spirit Song. I pulled some tarot cards, and I pulled a card from my deck, the Angelic View Oracle cards. From the tarot deck. Okay, and again, her question was, will I be moving house before next year? Okay, so the first card I pulled is the Queen of Cups. Okay, so the Queen of Cups is the Scorpio energy. So that to me um, tells me that it could be around the fall, or maybe that's when you started to feel drawn to making a move. Okay, but it could indicate that that's when it will be taking place. Okay, then I also got the card of nostalgia, the I'm sorry, the Six of Cups. Okay, now the move, this nostalgia is concerned here. Now either means that the move is maybe emotional because you have attachments to, maybe sentimental attachments to where you currently are, or this move may be taking you to a place that you were before and you have some sentimental attachments to. Okay, so it could go either way, only you will know that. And then the magician is the final card. Okay, and that tells me that you have all the tools and resources that you need to make this a reality, if that's truly what your heart desires. Okay, because the energy that we put out there can either accelerate or slow down this move. Okay, because are you moving because this is something you really want, or do you feel you have to, and maybe you're a little bit reluctant? That can slow it down, so you understand how energy works and how that can be affected. And then the card I got from the Angelic View Oracle cards is a card of hope and faith. Okay, and this card says, during difficult times, call upon us to boost your faith so that you can feel hopeful about the future. So whatever else may be going on, this is telling you, have faith. You continue to connect with your angels, ask your angels for the guidance, trust in that they have your highest good in mind, and go with what feels right to you and stay in faith. So I hope that helps, Spirit Song.
All right. And so next, Michelle says, may I have a birthday message, please? And
Absolutely.
Michelle, the birthday message, I actually was reading through the chat and saw what Dax had said. And it's interesting because I pulled cards earlier for you at the beginning of the show, just quietly over here to the side. And the cards that I got had to do with a renewal, a full renewal and celebration. And I have the benefit of knowing some of the stuff that has gone on in your life in the last year. And I just feel so optimistic and happy for you for this next year. And there's just I get a real feeling of empowerment that this is just something that you need to accept. It's not something that um, you will either accept it or you won't. It's a binomial. This isn't a dial. You don't get to turn it up. And just that new vision card, what that means to me is I talk about a lot of spirituality, and spiritual growth is a lot like video games, where you can just evolve, you can just level up, something bad happens, you can just respawn. And that's what that new vision card means to me is it's just an opportunity to just suddenly you are transformed. It's a transformation card. And then the second card that I got was this card of celebration. And when I saw that, I just really liked it. There we are, all just celebrating in the wild and the wind. And it's just an opportunity to just not to be in the moment, and celebrate. So happy birthday, Michelle. And I'm glad that you brought that happy birthday energy to this show today. That's great.
I'd like to add to that from Michelle. Okay, I pulled a card from my deck, Michelle, the Angelic View Oracle cards. The card of potential came up, and this is the gold and the yellows in this card just ring good opportunities, good things coming your way. I feel that the new year ahead is going to be full of potential and opportunities for you. It says the past cannot be changed, but the future is full of possibilities. That's what I have printed on the card. Okay. And I also feel a connection that this message is not just coming through from your angels, but from your daughter, because you mentioned earlier about the yellow butterflies, and what I didn't mention that earlier. I had thought of it, but then the discussion was continuing and I forgot to mention this, but it came back to me now and it reminded me as soon as I saw this. So I feel I have to say it. The yellow why you see yellow butterflies in particular is the color. The color has a lot to say from your daughter. Yellow is a very happy color. Okay. So she is very happy where she is, and she definitely watches over you, and she's very she has a lot of confidence and pride for you, and she also wants you to know that where she is, she feels a lot of confidence and in her own self, and very happy with herself in spirit. Okay, because the yellow is connected also with the solar plexus chakra. So I feel like, she's telling you, believe in yourself, because I believe in you, Mom. And you have so much potential. It's there. The angels are telling you, just believe in yourself and continue forward, and the future will be whatever you want it to be. Happy birthday, Michelle.
Happy birthday, Michelle. Dan says he would like a general reading.
Okay. Okay, so what do we do for Dan? Let's see what the angels have to say for Dan. Okay, let's see. The angels have to say for Dan. Dan, intuition. The angels are reminding you to use your intuition. Okay, that's the card I got from the Angelic View Oracle cards. And the message that's written on this card says your guardian angel often speaks to you through your intuitive senses. Pay attention to reoccurring gut feelings or tingling sensations. These bring with them a sense of calm when you're on the right track, or an uneasiness when you need to modify a decision or action. So you can see your guardian angel is looking over you and reminding you of this. I feel you're going to be doing more work on honing your intuition. I feel you are very intuitive, but you're going to be exercising that more. And the more that you exercise it, the stronger that it's going to get. And I'm pretty sure you guys probably have a copy of my book already. But if you read the chapter in there about intuition, I believe the exercises are going to be very helpful for you.
So Dan, this is an interesting reading. It's not the kind I normally get, actually. So I did pull a card because I'm trying to do a little bit more of that. And the card I got for you was sorrow. And what's interesting about this card is this isn't a card saying that you should feel sorrowful. It's a card that says that when you have strong emotions, it's an opportunity to pay attention to what's around you and to remember it. It's like a lock on that memory, and that lock can actually transcend lifetimes, where you're in a particular situation of trauma of some type, and it's what's around you that's important. It's what you're experiencing that's important, and it's not necessarily. It may feel like a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. The intensity is to help you remember it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative intensity. So your general reading is that should you have a strong emotional response to something here in the next short while, this week or so, that there's something about that situation that you should really be keying in on, and that the intensity of the situation and actually picking up, it could even be a conflict. But it's the intensity of that situation. Stop, look around, and know that you are not alone. And that's the real message. So we should all know that all the time anyway. But there are certain times when it's a little bit more, it grips you a little bit more. So let me see if there's anything else that anybody else would. I think that we are caught up
I
with
think so.
people that have requested readings.
Wonderful. So
And it's always such a pleasure to
it
see
is.
everyone and online and connect. And I will be happy to see other people working on their shows and get an opportunity to drop in. And of course, on the Angelic uh, Connections Community. We'll also be able to chat a little bit more in depth there on some of these topics because I'm very interested in everyone else's input with some of the topics that we've been talking about today. So, Maria, are you about ready to sign off for the beginning of our hiatus?
I definitely am because I have lots to do as a snowbird, my husband and I, and two fur babies in tow, packing up and getting out of here, out of Southwest Florida, and the long trek to New York. We're on the road. We'll be on the road for a few days, and then getting settled there. Because it's like you're packing and unpacking, packing and unpacking. But I really, really enjoy it. I wouldn't be doing it otherwise. I love the Hudson Valley in the summertime. Looking forward to being there. And it's definitely a blessing. And I see, they were talking about divine timing in the chat room, and everything, the way everything has been falling into place. It's been the right place, the right time, the right people. I'm definitely very, very grateful for all of that. We just recently put up our older truck and older camper. It was a truck camper that we had for sale. We put it up on Facebook Marketplace, and boom, went like that. The first couple that came and looked at it bought it, and I'm like, it was meant to be because we had been wanting to do that for a while because we have another larger RV that we actually live in during the season when we're up there, so we don't need the smaller one any longer. And we've been meaning to do it for a while. We were so busy with other things, and now it was coming to the end of the season. We're like, we really have to get our butts in gear and get this sold. And we were, prepared to have to, be showing it for a bit. And divine timing, right place, right time, right people, and it went. And it just seems that whenever I ask the angels for help, and I did ask them for help on this, whatever I asked them for help with, it they help me out. And it's God's will. They're working for God ultimately, but God has given us angels to help us. And it pleases God when we accept his gift and we call upon his angels for assistance. And as long as we stay in faith and are open to receiving their help and guidance and their support and their protection, we will receive it. And if it's God's will, it will happen. And sometimes things don't happen on our time frame. But like I said earlier, God's ways are not our ways, but we just have to continue moving forward in faith. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful summer season. And if you choose to join us in the Angelic Connections community, we'd love to have you. Get in while it's free. The code again for that is Angelic View. And if you want to grab that mini course and save 10%, the coupon code for that is SAVE10. You can find and access all of the places and everything that we talked about today, the school, the community, everything, my book, the deck, at my website, mariagmaas.com. And I look forward to being in touch and with our ACC community members and with my wonderful co-host Ginger, and maybe popping on a show here or there with Dax and friends. And we wish all of you a wonderful summer and looking forward to returning at the latest in the fall with another season of the Angelic View. So wishing you all, until then, angel blessings.
Bye.